Hi everybody! Miss Moon here. So I've been kind of meaning to actually go over the X-Men First Class movie in detail for a while now. But I kind of wanted to wait and I just didn't have the time, energy, motivation, whatever, to actually do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it now because I figure by now everybody who wanted to see it has seen it. But anyway, warning, here be spoilers. Alright, my only thing about X-Men so far with the movies is the continuity. That's the only problem that I have with it. I have a minor issue with their not wanting to stray from mutants. That's all they want to do, is have nothing but mutant issues. If you follow the comics, or even the cartoon, you know that it is not just a singularly mutant world that we're living in with the Marvel comics. As for X-Men First Class, the real story is basically just how Charles Xavier became Professor X and how Eric Lyncher became Magneto. Which, I mean, that's a pretty simple story, but there's a simple problem that I have with this. In the first X-Men movie, Charles Xavier says to Logan right off the bat, "It's been about 15 years, hasn't it, since you woke up not remembering anything?" That's cool, that's fine. But we know at this point that it has been more than 15 years from X-Men First Class to X-Men. The timeline is X-Men First Class, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and then X-Men 1, 2, and 3. I'm not too sure about the space between the 1, 2, and 3s. I assume that there's been about a year, but no more than a year between the 3 movies. But I don't know if that's actually like set in stone anywhere. Anyway, I can forgive a lot of things, mostly because I'm an escapist. I don't read books or watch movies in order to broaden my mind or critically look at this work of fiction. I mean, whenever I am reading or watching a movie, I let go of my thoughts and just get sucked in. And that is what they are for me, is an escape. So usually when I am watching a movie like this, even if there has been a movie before or after or related to, what I tend to do is forget. Just patch into that one project. Which is great because I kind of am going through the movie like, wow. But then when I get out of the movie and I come back down to myself, I still have that, but I kind of have also switched over, wait, what now? Because in my brain, I have suddenly come back to reality and I remember everything, and the movie has to fall into place. There has to be continuity, which is why I have a problem with these X-Men movies. In X-Men First Class, we have the young Charles Xavier and the young Eric Lyncher. They're fighting against, basically, the Hellfire Club, which would not be much without the White Queen and Sebastian Shaw. And in X-Men Origins Wolverine, we see a cameo from Professor Xavier and Emma. What? Yeah, that kind of just blew my mind right there. We have no continuity right now because you can not quantify either of these movies. They don't fit together as a puzzle piece, as a storyline, as anything. Unless Emma Frost has magically also gained the power to scale her age back, which I guess she could have been doing through telepathy, but what? It still doesn't fit. It doesn't work. So that is my major problem with the. I am not going to talk about the fact that they made Silver Fox and Emma Frost sisters, and I'm not going to talk about the fact that Professor X essentially adopted Mystique as his sister. I'm not going to talk about those things. They have this thing, and it started in X-Men 2 that I noticed. They make everything a mutant thing. I would like to go ahead and point out the obvious elephant in the room with adamantium claws. Yuriko Oyama. Someone did say, they didn't come out and say that Yuriko Oyama is Lady Deathstrike. But she is. You turned her into a mutant. Really, she was not in the original series. Yuriko Oyama was the daughter of one of the scientists that put adamantium in Wolverine. But she was not a mutant, she was completely human, and in order to get adamantium claws, she became a cyborg. But she was still a human, she just had cybernetic enhancements with adamantium claws. I brushed it under the rug because it was like, well, I guess it's no big deal. And then X3 came out. Okay, now we have an issue. I mean, you can go ahead and take one single cybernetic person and turn them into a mutant in this universe and go ahead and say, okay, I guess that's fine. But you can't do this to several characters and get away with it without it becoming an issue. There was absolutely no mention that the Juggernaut was Charles Xavier's stepbrother. There was no mention of it at all. No, I'm not gonna touch on that he was his stepbrother. I'm not gonna touch it. But what I will say is, he was not technically a mutant. I remember in, I think it was X-Men Evolution, they said that he used mysticism to awaken his dormant X gene, that elusive mutant gene. So he had an X gene, but it was dormant. I think it was the cartoon series, they said that he used the ancient gem of Sidorak, and that's how he got his power. In this, he's just another mutant. And that's a lot less epic than, I used an ancient gem to awaken my powers. And then we have the Phoenix. I can't. Yeah, her story was so much more epic in every other series I've ever seen it in, aside from the movie. The movie is where things are made to be epic. You can present something legendary in a movie and get away with it, but not so much this. No, they turned the Phoenix into an alternate personality of Jean Grey. What the actual? I mean, okay, I can kind of see how they wouldn't want to just shove the Imkron crystal and Lilandra and the Shi'ar into this because it wouldn't fit. But you took an intergalactic stellar being and you made her an alternate personality. What? They really just made everything about mutant, but not everything was mutant. It was so much more dynamic in the other version. I'm actually really glad that a lot of characters that I know and love were not put into this, because who knows what they would have done with them. So that is my full-on review of the X-Men series. The series has had a lot of really great actors. I've loved the performances. Like I said, I'm an escapist, so I mean, I just got lost in what you guys were doing. And then afterwards it was like, now wait a second. Bottom line, I will watch and rewatch the extra features behind the scenes. So I don't like to just come in and say, oh, you failed, lol. Because so many people put so much work into this. So I can't really just discount this. I can't throw it out the window because you guys put a lot of effort into this. You just didn't think it out too clearly. I don't want to discount the performances as they are, but as a work that goes together, it just doesn't fit. So don't watch these movies expecting them to be connected to the original comics, and don't watch them expecting them to be connected to each other, because you're gonna get disappointed and have serious questions. That is my comprehensive thoughts on the entire X-Men series of movies. Close, but no cigar. That's pretty much all for me right now. Peace out. I enjoy watching Hugh Jackman, James McAvoy, Halle Berry on the screen as much as any girl. Seriously, I'm pretty sure that everyone agrees that the best thing about this series is that Cyclops died and he stayed dead.